Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Facade Improvement Workshop hosted by Urban Impact in partnership with the City of Birmingham's Community Development Department. We're so excited to have you today, and we're excited to get into how we can assist. Urban Impact is the community economic development agency that serves the Civil Rights 4th Avenue Business District and the City of Birmingham. So we're really excited to have you here today with us, joining us on this live stream, and we will get started shortly. So to kick us off, I'm going to show you all the video so that we can get started. We invite you to participate in our district redevelopment plan. We want to hear your voice, the Northwest Quadrant Master Plan at northwestbhamplan.com, and get your thoughts on Freedom Walk. So we're going to have this video and we'll come back and answer your questions and really get excited. So do me a favor, tag some people, drop them in the comment. If there's anything you can't see, let us know in the comments. Let us know what side of town you're from, and we'll have a great discussion today. So without further ado.
I don't know about you, but this is exciting. And I guess you have to actually sit in my office and see me praying and crying all at the same time, trying to figure out how we can create a better opportunity and create a place that I believe builds on the legacy that so many people fought, fled, and died for, to be just embraced as a part of the overall vision and inclusion of the city of Birmingham. So this is indeed a great day for me.
Hello, thank you all for coming on this live with us today. Today we have a great lineup here with the Facade Improvement Workshop offered by the City of Birmingham's Community Development Department, and we'll have Ms. LaReisha Higginbottom, I hope I'm saying that correctly, and Mr. Christopher Hatcher will be joining us. So without further ado, we're going to go ahead and bring in our folks who are going to be talking to us today. And again, let us know where you are from, what part of the city you're from, and what questions you may have. And thank you for rocking with us today.
Hello. Thank you for having me.
Thank you for joining us. So first, tell us a little bit about yourself. Introduce yourself to the folks.
Okay. So my name is LaReisha Higginbottom. I work in community development with the City of Birmingham. I'm originally from Wisconsin, so I'm kind of an outsider that gets to have a little input in what's going on in the city. But I've been here for about a decade now, so it's virtually my home. As a member of the City of Birmingham's Community Development Department. I am currently managing the Facade Improvement Program. I managed another program, but we're going to focus on that one today. Chris is not with us at the moment. He's having a little issues logging in, but he is the director and he was going to spearhead this presentation, but I may have to go ahead and do that for him.
No problem. Well, we've got some folks from the Rising West Princeton community. Thank you for that shout out. And so anybody else, let us know. So we will go ahead and I do have a presentation queued up. And if you feel comfortable, we can go ahead and start and really talk about just the basics of who it's for, why, the community development department at the city believed this was important. And I'll tell you from our standpoint, we serve a Main Street, 4th Avenue district, historic Black district in the city, just one of our great cultural districts and assets. And so, we always hear, man, how do we make this better? And so we really want to make sure that we had a resource for our property owners, not just here, but also in the other districts that this is being offered. So we really appreciate you all coming on board here and, particularly doing this for us. So what I'm going to do is you'll see this, and then you can sort of go from there.
Okay.
And let me get that out for that. So it's your floor. So just from a perspective here, we'll go through the points of the program, and then we'll have some Q&A.
Okay.
All right. Well, it's yours. Just let me know when to keep going.
You can go ahead and go to the next slide. So basically, if you're looking at the slide, you'll see that at the top of this picture, there was the previous facades. And then below that, you'll see where they did a markup of what they wanted the properties to look like after redevelopment. And then the bottom is the completed redevelopment via the Facade Improvement Program funding. So basically, our goal with this program is to revitalize the different districts via CDBG funding. We hope to increase tax revenue, increase property values, increase basically the footmark in the community. So we want people to be in those areas more frequently than they are at this moment. We think that we know based on research that the exterior of buildings increases the foot traffic in those areas. Could you go to the next slide? So here you'll see an example of how the funding worked and helped the community. In California, approximately $1,050,000 were invested in 160 projects. And here you'll see two of those examples on the slide. You can go to the next one. Additionally, in Knoxville, Tennessee, $1,250,000 were invested in 20 projects. And you can see the two examples from that on that slide. You can go to the next one. So a study by the University of Wisconsin found that as a result of the facade improvement programs, there's increased sales, more first-time customers, more intense and active uses. Participants were often motivated to make additional improvements, and owners and tenants of properties and businesses in surrounding areas were motivated to make improvements. So again, the goal of the Birmingham program is to develop better aesthetics, increase property values, improve the marketability of space within the buildings, and draw business and residents to the area. You can go to the next slide. Now, as our program here in the city, because each city's program varies slightly, but our program here in the city currently has a funding of $250,000 allocated. It is a competitive application process. We have we have two different review boards, but there's also the historic preservation review, depending on where your building may be located. Basically, the program has a 5-year forgivable loan, meaning that you will have this loan for a 5-year period, but you will not make payments during those 5 years. Our goal is for job creation or retention, and each applicant must have a 20% match. Next slide. So where are we looking for participants? We have key areas. Now, anybody can apply in any area, but these are our focus areas. North Birmingham, the East Lake, Woodlawn, 8th Avenue, Ensley, the Lam Tuscaloosa District, downtown Northwest Birmingham, downtown West, and then 4th Avenue. If you have any questions as to whether your building is in one of these districts because you're not certain of the way the mapping works, you can give us a call and we will let you know. Next slide. So we've written down how the criteria of the selection process works. Here you'll see that location is 40%, impact is 35%. There are other attributes, meaning are you planning to restore the original layout of the facade, or are you trying to make modifications? That's 15. And then the statement of interest is 10. We have gone ahead and provided more detail for each criteria definition. But if you have any other questions about that, again, we have this available for you to view, and we are available to answer questions. We do have some priorities, right? So our community development priorities are those buildings that are severely deteriorated or have a negative impact on the community, properties with significant codes enforcement histories. So if you know that your property has had code enforcement problems in the past, you may have a higher priority on our list. Businesses located in pedestrian-oriented business districts, such as Ensley, North Birmingham, and 4th Avenue. So we're really focused on making Birmingham more of a walkable community. So I think Chris is coming in. He might take over. But yes, vacant buildings being returned to active use.
Hey, Chris, how you doing?
Doing fine. Still trying to get situated. I'm having to, switch between multiple devices. So if y'all just continue, and I will be ready shortly. LaReisha, you've done a great job. You're doing a great job.
No problem. It's absolutely. Well, I want to stop here. If we have anybody in the comments that have any questions, feel free to put your questions in the comments on Facebook Live, on YouTube, and we will pop on the screen. A shout out. We've got folks from Smithfield Estates, Central Park, Rising West Princeton, to shout out. So very cool. So LaReisha, let's keep going, and we'll go from there.
Okay. So as I was stating earlier, you will have to have a 20% match, and then CDBG funding will be the other 80%. Now, how are we going to determine how much you receive? So the cap is $50,000, and it will be based on $20 per square foot of your facade improvement. So while there is a max of $50,000, that doesn't mean that every applicant will receive $50,000. Again, this is a forgivable loan after 5 years, and no payments will be required during that time period. There are requirements to ensure that you do not have to make those payments back, and those include retention of ownership, occupancy by tenants, maintenance of the facade, maintenance hazard insurance, and payment of all property taxes due during that time period. So, design review approval. Eligible proposals will be required to follow design guidelines for this program, and we will work with you as it pertains to your designs. We will work with you, and we can also make sure that you have an architecture. Now, what the city is willing to do is reimburse up to $3,000 for those architectural fees. Chris, are you ready?
We're still working out some of the details on some of this. We're working with our partners at Urban Impact to see, what additional technical support that that can be provided for those property owners that need it. So there may be some funding available in addition to the $3,000 that we have allocated under CDBG. So we're working through that right now. So just know that that's a work in progress, and there may be some additional soft costs like design, things of that nature, and permitting, things of that nature, that we may be able to provide additional services for, and we're working through that process. Okay.
Great. So thank you so much, everyone. If you're just joining us, this is the City of Birmingham Community Development Partner Department. They've doing their facade improvement overview. So be sure to put your questions in the chat, and we'll get to them. So we'll keep going.
Okay. All right. And next slide. Okay. So the procurement process. The way this works, like LaReisha mentioned before, this is funded through CDBG, our Community Development Block Grant Fund, which the federal government provides to the city of Birmingham for such neighborhood revitalization projects. As you know, since it is federal dollars, there are strings attached. There are processes that we have to go through. So like any other government, we work under a lowest bidder format. So once your projects are approved, once the applicant's project is approved and we've received a notice to proceed, we will require the applicant to solicit bids from contractors, at least a minimum of 5 competitive bids from contractors. And we will, as a city, we will be encouraging you or requiring you to take the lowest bid or approve the lowest bid amount, unless there are some extenuating circumstances on which that is not feasible. So another thing is that since we are under the city procurement requirements, we want to make sure that that the minority participation is key. So we want to have minority participation, especially small and women-owned businesses being awarded work as well. So whether that's the main contractor, whether there's a number of subcontractors, we want to utilize those minority and women-owned vendors. So that's going to be a very important part of the project as well, of the approval process for the contractor as well. Okay. Next slide.
And I think we've got a question from Miss Rhonda Phillips-Reed.
Okay.
Have you discussed how long you must own the building? I'm currently aggressively looking, so she's asking how long you must own the building?
How long you must own the building? It could be 10 years or 10 days, as long as you have a clear title to the building and you can prove your ownership. You fulfill that eligibility requirement.
Thank you.
Mhm.
And then a quick question, Dennis Eccles says, is Central Park included in the Inslee area? If not, or can it be a part of the program?
No, Central Park has not been identified as a targeted district. Although we do allow for properties within districts that are not targeted to apply for the program. One of the requirements is going to be that, first of all, that the building meets a eligibility requirement that would be 50 years old or more. That's one of the eligibility requirements. Another is that, if it has some type of architectural appeal, that's another. Um, Moving forward, as I mentioned, this is a first year, this is a pilot program. Moving forward, we hope to expand that program. But for right now, we are targeting specific areas and we are allowing for investment in other districts outside those areas, given if the funding is available.
Thank you so much.
I hope that answered your question. If you have additional questions, just, we'll give you our contact information so you can ask them.
Thank you. And we will hold the rest of the questions until after you finish your presentation. So keep putting them in the chat. So thank you.
Okay. So on this slide, you'll look at property eligibility criteria. So, all commercial properties within a designated district, and, we're not doing any residential development. It must be a commercial income producing property. We're also, where I said we're not doing solely residential, we are doing properties that have mixtures of use. So you can have residential and you can have, commercial on the ground floor or on several floors, and you can have residential as well. So we are doing mixed use development. Okay, the property owner or the tenant must apply. If the tenant is an applicant, it's going to be imperative that we have the property owner's consent and approval to enter into an agreement, because the property owner is going to be responsible for they're going to be who we look to when we are enforcing the requirements of the agreement for the grant or for the loan. You can't have any delinquent municipal bills, property taxes. Can't have any liens on the building. You can't have anything delinquent that's tied to the property. And also, you must be in compliance with all zoning and building code requirements. So, if you're proposing a use in a building and it's not zoned for that particular zoning district, then your project will not be approved. And of course, if the property is not up to code, and the facade proposal that you have for it is not going to bring that property into code, then that property would not be eligible as well. Okay, next slide. Okay. All right, so some other ineligible uses. We are not funding franchises, so we're not providing facade improvements for McDonald's or other commercial franchises. This is meant to be combative with the Main Street program, and we are focusing on small property owners who are heavily invested in bringing value to specific districts. So no franchises, please. As I mentioned earlier, residential only buildings are not eligible for this program. We don't do churches or religious institutions. So those facade improvements for an established or existing church congregation that is not eligible for the program, and city-owned or government buildings are not. So a facade improvement for City Hall, we cannot approve that. Okay, next slide. Okay, some eligible activities, and this is very important. This is a facade improvement program, and the focus is strictly on the building facade, and in particularly the building facades that are visible from the public right of way. So anything that's fronting a street or it is going to be eligible. If it's in the back of the building and along the alley that's not visible from the street, that's not eligible. We can't do roof repairs. That's not eligible. So the type of work to the facades are, repairing historically significant structures or pieces or details of the building. So whether that's the cornice repair, we can do masonry repair or tucking and pointing the brick, or we can do a storefront renovation or construction. We can do some painting. I have to put a check mark on painting because if you're in a historic district and your brick work on the building is in good condition, typically you're not going to be allowed to repaint brick. It has to be in poor or disrepairable condition before a design review committee will allow you to paint over brick. We can restore historic and permanent signage, exterior lightings. In some cases, we will approve murals, but that's another added level of justification for improvements for murals. So, and there are various other activities. I just wanted to give you a few. Okay, next slide. Okay, ineligible activities. As I mentioned before, any portion of the building or the facade that is not seen from the public right-of-way is not eligible to receive funding under this facade improvement program. Other ineligible activities are we don't do landscaping or fencing, non-visible mechanical or screening elements of a building, interior improvements or remodeling on the inside of the building. That's new construction. This is meant for existing buildings, so we're not funding facades for new construction. And routine costs of business operations, things of that nature, and we're not funding acquisition of or expansion of building. I think that goes to a question that I just answered previously. You have to be a existing owner of the building in order to be able to secure funding through the facade improvement program. And of course, we don't do a fund normal wear and tear of the building facade. Okay, next slide. Okay, and as far as the presentation of slide deck, that is the last slide. I hope we were able to provide you with a good overview of the facade improvement program. And if you have any additional questions, please contact Ms. Higginbottom. She is the facade improvement program manager. And she will definitely be able to help you and talk you along the application process and answer any questions that you have. If she's unavailable, please feel free to reach out to myself, Chris Hatcher. I'm the Director of Community Development for the City of Birmingham. And the phone number to the Community Development Department is area code 205-254-2309. That's 205-254-2309. And we'll be happy to entertain any questions that you all have.
Well, first of all, thank you so much for your time and doing super great. So I'll pop up one question that we put on hold, and please, if you're out there, make sure you tag where you are in the comments and send us questions so that we can be sure to answer them in the time that we have. So the first question that we got, can this loan, Valerie Harper King says, can this loan be used to improve our community center? I think you sort of answered that. I'll let
Right.
you.
No, this loan program will not be utilized to improve any facades on government or city-owned buildings. So, community centers, things of that nature, that they're not eligible for the project. I mean, excuse me, for the program.
Okay. And when the application says portions of East Lake and Woodlawn, I know you said you don't have particularly the map. You can bring some clarity to that, because I know that was another question too.
Okay. Well, both East Lake and Woodlawn have historic districts and commercial revitalization districts that overlap. The main focus of the facade program will be on the historic districts, because those are the areas where we think we have intact adjacent storefronts and buildings that complement one another. When you get outside of those historic districts that run along First Avenue North, along US Highway 11, you're looking at more of a suburban style development pattern where you don't have a number of buildings. The buildings are spread out apart. They're not really as conducive to creating that sense of place, that walkability. You have to more so get in the car and drive to them. So although we will consider buildings within that larger Woodlawn or East Lake area, the main focus is going to be on that historic commercial district core.
Thank you so much for that. What would you all say is a competitive application? Like, what are you all looking to see competitively?
That's a very good question, considering that we haven't received the application yet. That may be a loaded question.
Well, so just to break it down, if I come to you and say, hey, I've got I need about $30,000, and you're not having a job creation effect, just sort of those things that people need to be looking out for, I think maybe help.
Okay. Well, at the core, competitive application will, first of all, meet that full-time equivalent job creation or job retention requirement. That's one of the core or first level criteria, because that's required by the HUD. That's required by CDBG funding. So we've got to have. That's what this program is based on, economic development. So we really and truly need to meet that criteria to justify it to HUD. So it's got to have the job creation component. Okay, it's got to have the justification and the building component as well. You've got to have a storefront that is in a I would say a walkable district, and you have to have that viable business going into it. So, property ownership, job creation, and storefront that's in need of repair. That's the baseline criteria. Okay, going forward, when we look at our districts, all of our districts are different, and we will look at different criteria per district in order to speak to the competitiveness of an application. An application in the Fourth Avenue Business District may be, although they may be the same type of project, but they have different benefits for the district. So, which benefits the district more at the time that this funding is available? If that answers the question.
Absolutely. What are some, LaReisha, you have anything that particularly add?
If he hit every point I would have hit.
Great. So in the chat, I've pasted the link to the program guide that basically is, basically point for point the slide presentation that you saw, and that also serves as a resource. What I'm going to do to sort of close this out is I want to make sure that people know where to find, the application, and we can go through that. And so I'm going to pop it up the screen again. Let me see, 1 second. And again, if you have comments, please let us know. Drop your question in the comments. We definitely want to use this time and get your comments shared. There we go. I hope everyone can see it. Okay, so I'll pop on one question. Adrian says, if we have specific questions related to the documents required by the application, can we email those to you?
There are a number of email addresses, but please email them to Ms. Higginbottom. I believe her email address is on the website and is on the slide deck. Are we making the slide deck available to everyone, Elijah?
Yes.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Okay. So yeah, if you have any questions, please direct them to them and to Ms. Higginbottom, and she'll be able to get you answers to your questions.
Great. So, with that being said, everyone go to the City of Birmingham website, birmingham.al.gov, Birmingham, England, / community development. If you haven't been on this page before, it's super important. A lot of good resources on here. But you're going to go to the first tier where it says current initiatives, programs, and projects. And so I just put the particular the guide in the chat, but then you have the guide here, and then you have the application here. And when you click the application, the PDF comes in, and you can see, part of the application that, would be pointed in. And one of the things I wanted just to bring out from the presentation is that, both Ms. Higginbottom and Mr. Hatcher talked about, making sure there's viability, making sure that job creation, that there's a clear title. And so I want everyone to be encouraged. You can do this application, and we're even here to assist you as well, in addition to community development department. That it's really just making sure that you document, and this form PDF. And so it's super doable. So we've got one question, and you have any sort of feedback of Ms. Higginbottom or Mr. Hatcher on the application?
One thing I want to point out is that application is a fillable PDF, so I'm really excited about that. You do not have to write it, you can type it in. But again, if you have any questions when filling it out, please feel free to call me or email me, and I would definitely assist.
Okay. Yeah,
Excellent.
and I also wanted to add that we require we require a credit review. We're not a commercial bank. You don't have to have stellar credit to assess this program. But what we do want to establish that is that you do have a good history of paying off your obligations. So with that being said, you don't have to have an 850 credit score to access this program. But we do want to make sure that that you are a credit worthy applicant. So we won't require you. We won't be pulling credit reports for the application, but we will require that each applicant submit with their application a recent credit report for you if you're if you're applying as an individual or if you're applying in your business entity name. So just wanted to put that out there to because that is going to be very important as well.
Great. Well, I think we've probably got time for about two more questions. Ms. Rhonda Phillips Reed says, I have a building in mind. Can I email the address to make sure it's in the district?
Sure.
Right.
Well,
And
we
I just,
I'm sorry, I just want to reiterate that you can still apply if it's not in one of those districts.
and so going back to that piece, so you can still apply, but there are, a set of priority districts. Could you, just reiterate for those who are just coming on sort of the thought process behind that?
Okay, sure. We wanted to identify those, historic neighborhood commercial or business districts across the city of Birmingham. So the focus has been on those districts. Those districts have certain characteristics, as most of them, or all of them, are pre-World War II business districts. They are historically on a grid pattern. So there's walkability. So we don't have to rely on a car to move around. They have unique or architectural features that are dedicated to that time, which are irreplaceable. They just don't build them like they used to. So focus has been on revitalization of those historic commercial districts in the city of Birmingham. So that's why we chose downtown Ensley. That's why we chose identified downtown North Birmingham. Of course, 4th Avenue District, downtown Woodlawn. So areas like that will receive a priority focus. Knowing that we still have viable and eligible properties all over the city, we wanted to allow for properties or the owners of properties that are not in these core districts the ability to apply for the funding as well, because we realize that those areas need funding too. So that is the primary reason why we chose those districts, because of those certain characteristics that they have. But we wanted the program to be flexible enough to allow for investment in other commercial districts as well.
Thank you. Well, I think, if anyone has a final question, please type it in the chat as we're about to wrap up here. The only thing, Chris, if you could just help, and for those who are coming back on, around the match requirement that this grant has and how important that is, and, how to present that.
Yes, the match is very, very important. It's an 80-20 match. The city, through CDBG, we're providing 80% of the funding for the facade improvement. And it's very important that the property owner or the business owner have some skin in the game. So that's just a way to prove that basically that you're committed to the district, that you want to make an investment in your building, and that you're going to have some longevity in the project. this is not a program where we are looking to incentivize property owners to improve their property so they can sell for a higher price. Get something so they can flip their investment, and flip the city's investment in the property. We want the property owners to also be a partner with the city. So that's why that 20% match is important. And let me say that we realize that $50,000, which is the maximum amount, is not a lot of money when you're talking about substantially improving a building. So if you have applicants that are doing more comprehensive renovation work to bring buildings back online, this is just an added incentive to that, and this will allow you to back that money that you are putting in a storefront out of your design or your project and put into other of your renovation. So it can definitely benefit you on that. And some of that work is a part of that 20% match. So that's very important to note also.
And it is a reimbursement.
Yes. Now, yes, it's on a reimbursable basis. You get approved. We're not going to write you a check for whatever the facade improvement amount is. It's a reimbursable expense. So once a contractor submits an invoice for the work, they will be paid for the work. So thank you for the reminder, Elijah. That's very important.
Right, yeah. And so just to wrap it up, I'm a business on Tuscaloosa Avenue, or an 8th Avenue North, and I'm trying to fix my building. I've got a legit contractor. He gave me a price of $10,000. I can put up $2,000, put in the application. Then after they submit the invoice, then I get reimbursed for the $8,000. Right.
That's correct.
Yeah, and I think that's the hope of making things more inviting, attracting more customers, foot traffic, and really continuing the magic of Birmingham. Right. So we're really excited about this. So just thank you, LaReisha Higginbottom and Chris Hatcher, for joining us from Birmingham's Community Development Department. This is live stream, but it's also on Facebook and YouTube. So we'll send this out, to everyone that registered and replay it through our social media channels, as well as sort of the slide deck that the community department tagged in the comments. We've got, links toward LaReisha Higginbottom, who is the program manager, as well as the application and the guide. So we hope that this was helpful to you. Believe this has, been a really challenging time, but we still believe that Birmingham can move forward, and the picture that is in our background is what inspires every day at 4th Avenue, a vibrant, civil rights district, and we believe that can be all across the city. So if there are no other questions, feel free to reach out to the contacts. If you have questions, we'll try to make sure you get to those contacts. And do share this with a friend, property owners, people around the city. Get the word out, and we'll want to do this. Wish you success. So thank y'all so much. Any closing thoughts?
We just appreciate the love. We love these districts as well. We want to see our business districts make a huge comeback. We're seeing this happening in cities across the country. Birmingham is no different, and we want to be a part of that comeback. So, we're here to help. We're here to assist. Just let us know, what you all need, and we'll try to do what we can.
LaReisha?
I just want to say thank you for assisting us in spreading the word about the program. Hoping to get some applications in soon.
And is there a deadline for applications?
No, No deadline.
Cool, cool. Well, thank y'all so much. Y'all have a great day. Thank you to everyone in Facebook, YouTube land, and we'll get the information out to you via email. Until then, create impact and let's move Birmingham forward, because Birmingham has magic. So y'all be good. Have a great one.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye.
All right. Thank you.
So again, thank you so much for rocking with us today. Thank you for the city of Birmingham for, just the accessibility. And we hope that you thought this was important. Again, share the word, we'll send it out, and we'll leave you particularly with the video. Please go and interact with northwestbhamplan.com. We're doing a Northwest Quadrant plan. We want to hear your thoughts about the Civil Rights District and the Switch Innovation District. And we just want to continue to engage, and we want to continue to, engage you where you are. So thank you all so much, and y'all be good.
I don't know about you, but this is exciting. And I guess you have to actually sit in my office and see me praying and crying all at the same time, trying to figure out how we can create a better opportunity and create a place that I believe builds on the legacy that so many people fought, bled, and died for, to be just embraced as a part of the overall vision and inclusion of the city of Birmingham. So this is indeed a great day for me.